There we go, just gonna ignore that blister. Oh shit, I made a whoopsie. Whew! Lucky to survive that.
I'm not ready yet.
No unique this time. Last time I opened up a white chest to get a unique out of it. Pretty lucky. Cast Decrepify. That's why I love this build as well, man. Being able to cast Decrepify in a distance. It's so good.
I'm not ready yet.
Bone Storms are still up. And I can already use another one. Yeah, this build is amazing. Just not as good as against single targets. We'll see how this goes. Still have to encounter an elite.
I need more time.
Gotta love that Bone Storm barrier as well.
I need more time.
I'll show you, like single target. Oh shit. That was dumb. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? The moment I realized there was actually a blood blister there, I pulled my trigger, wanted to use blood mist, but it was too late. Yeah, I can see why people dislike that shit on higher tier dungeons. See if this is cursed well. Nope. Had a cursed chest either. Oh. I'm just gonna play it safe and wait 1 second till I get my fucking Bone Storm back again.
I'm not ready yet.
Still no elite. I bet they're all clumped up.
I need more time.
I'll tell you what though. Even though I seem to be able to handle myself alright in these tier dungeons, tier 100 dungeons, like I do not want to run into the butcher. Alright, restart, blood blister's gone. I thought it was gonna kill me again there. The build is only as good as the person that plays it, right? Even with builds that seem as simple as this one. Heck, even with whirlwind builds. You spin circus all day, the stuff gets boring quick. Before you know it, you fall asleep. And if you're on hardcore, rip. And yeah, that kind of stuff actually happens.
I need more time. I'm not ready yet.
Ooh, shit. That nearly destroyed me. Gotta watch out for those explosions. Alright, doing alright on inventory space, not getting too much loot this time. Sweet, an event. Oh, shit.
Ready yet.
That nearly cost me my life again.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
And hold corpse explosion. Just go around, blood mist, create some pulls. Hold down corpse explosion, cast a curse here and there. Usually I don't even do that curse casting. I could do it more often. After all, it's like 24% extra damage. With the passive skill that I'm using. Amplified damage or whatever. Yeah. With 3 points in it myself. Got +3 from my amulet. That's 24% extra damage against cursed enemies. In elites. Sweet, that's it, just the boss.
I need more time.
That poison damage is real though. Come on, spawn your enemies.
I need more time.
Should get some enemies now. There we go. Let you get more corpses, let you finish the fight quick. Quicker. He keeps moving away from the corpses, it's pretty annoying.
I need more time.
Whoo! Holy poison. I need my blood mist. God damn. There we go, more monsters. Sweet. There we go. Tier 100 solo Dunsky. Feel like it used to be a lot more difficult. Pre-season, that is. Gems or glyphs I'm using, by the way: territorial, essence, darkness, and control. Alright, guess I'll show my gear and my stats and all that. Actually, I'm going back there. There's no people around there. Alright. Quick look at the stats. About 8k attack power. Wait, why is it so much? Is it more than normal? Ah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. About 8k attack power. Ah, it's the Scent of Death. Ah, okay. When I'm stunning in town, it'll be like 6.9k. Anyway, 7.9k armor. Almost 16k life. As you can see, I kinda messed up on the vulnerable damage. Don't have a lot, but I do have a lot of crit. Doesn't seem like a lot of crit chance either, but when I have Bone Storm active, that's another 20% crit chance. And from this amulet, there's another 30%, so that's basically 79% crit chance. All damage, quite a lot. Damage versus elites. Crowd controlled, stunned. Damage versus injured, as you can see, it's really high. And I did not do this on purpose. This kinda happened because of some of the Paragon nodes I picked, just because they gave other useful things as well, such as like armor, crit damage, stuff like that. Below the shadow damage, mostly because of the Paragon. Nothing really too fancy here. Now I should warn you, this build, it can be quite hard to put together at first, because you are going to need 2 unique pieces for it. I'll show you those 2 in a minute. Alright, let's start at the helmet. The Crepify rank 4 seemed as good as anything, because I already have the defensive rolls on here. I already had the armor, the maximum life, cooldown reduction helps as well with the recovery of the blood mist and all your other skills. Just cooldown is always good if you use skills that actually have cooldown. Yeah, there's 4 ranks of the Crepify. They give, I don't know, it's like 3.8% extra. Yeah, 3.8% extra damage reduction. So I figured, why not? And yeah, you want basic skills, grant damage reduction on it as well. By the way, this isn't the best build. I know how there's tons of people fucking trying to bait people in like the absolute best necromancer build, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna do anything like that. My build might not be perfect. The seconds on my barber might not be perfect. The rolls I have, at least in my jury, like might not be perfect either. Alright, so here I kinda went for all stats. I can potentially fix it with the Paragon points by taking some stuff out of intelligence notes and putting it into dexterity and willpower instead. Another damage reduction on it would be nice, I guess, but I already got the base flat damage reduction and max total armor and a decent amount of life as well. Now a lot of people run the aspect where you get barrier for 10 seconds, once every 30 seconds once you encounter an elite, but it's once every 30 seconds. And since I can have bone storm up all the time thanks to the shield that I'm using, I keep getting barrier. And it's 5% of your base life. And I have a lot of life, so it's definitely better. Alright, next one. This is one of the uniques you want to run. I know it doesn't have great stats, corpse skill, attack speed. I mean that is actually good for your corpse explosion, just be able to pop him faster. Lucky hit chance. I kinda went for lucky hit chance on this build just to get lucky hits and just to get stun a lot and fear a lot as well, because at some point I wasn't using the barber, I was using the I forgot what it's called. It's the other ruffled gem where it basically gives you extra damage for every crowd control effect on an enemy. Which might be really good if you focus on a 4-man team where you get every crowd control ability possible. But yeah, the barber is just it's just sick on this build, especially as well because damage over time can't proc overpower. And it also can't crit. Damage over time cannot critically strike, so the barber basically takes the damage over time that's going off everywhere across the whole screen when I crit, and it adds another 15% multiplicative damage to it, and that way I get some extra damage out of my damage over time as well. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now 3.5 seconds might be a bit too much on lower tier dungeons, but for these ones where I don't pop crowds that fast, I kinda like it. But on like let's say 60 or whatever, yeah, it might be better to have like a 3 second or something. Alright, back to this one. Lucky hit chance. Yeah, I would at this point, since we're running the barber, I kinda don't want that fear. But yeah, I got no choice. The reason why I want this is because of the corpse explosion, because the corpse explosion now summons a volatile skeleton that charges a random enemy and explodes. It looks funny as hell, just sending fucking Al-Qaeda skeletons everywhere. And corpse explosion damage is increased by 40%. And they bring over those pools of blight as well. Thanks to that bone storm skill on the little as well. They cause other areas as well to fucking have that bone storm effect and deal more damage, keep my crit up and all that. So yeah, it's great to have. I'm just gonna jump straight to the shield so you can see the combo. Right, this is good about the shield as well. You got 20% block chance and 60% block damage reduction. So every hit you're gonna block, it's 60% damage reduction. That's pretty nice. And it also still says plus 8% main hand weapon damage. And some thorns, so that's right. But what's on it? Attack speed is good. Damage to distance, good as well. Chance to restore primary resource and essence, don't need it on this build at all. So those are kinda meh. But the thing is, lucky hit while you have an active bone storm hitting an unaffected enemy has 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional storm at their location. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses increases the chance by 25%, and the total additional bone storms you can have by +1. So this means with 3 sacrifice bonuses, you can have 4 bone storms up at the same time at several locations. And that's just great. It's just great. I tried to use the aspect as well, where your bone storm becomes a darkness skill, which was great, but at that point I haven't found these gloves yet. So if you don't have these gloves but you do have the shield, use that aspect on your gloves, where you turn your bone storm to darkness damage. It's a great combo. Alright, pants, you just basically want to go defense, 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 defense as far as you can. Now I went for damage reduction from close enemies over distant enemies on this one. And the reason why is like if you're just coming out of a blood mist, you know, and it just happens to be a CC effect or a pop or explosion or whatever, it's just good to have some extra defensive layer there, whereas I feel like damage from distant, the only thing that really worries me is the corpse bows, like the off-screen bullshit, which I'm not sure if they're ever gonna fix that, but they're still pretty fucking rough. Like if I bet like with this amount of defense in life, if I don't have my stacks up for my disobedience, I will definitely get one shot by a corpse bow on tier 100. 100%. It's gonna happen. Like even if I would have damage reduction from distant enemies on here, it would still happen, I feel like. So I kinda went like, nah, you know, close is gonna be more important. Especially because you gotta be around enemies as well for this vicious heart to kick in and automatically activate the scorp skills. So yeah, damage reduction from close, damage reduction from enemies affected by shadow over time. I kinda like the fact that it was pretty high as well, 16%. Damage reduction and total armor, and yeah, you want disobedience on this build as well. I'm not sure, but I don't think, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure like every build in Diablo 4 runs disobedience at this point. Alright, on this one, the boots, I know I got attacks reduced evades cooldown by 0.9 seconds. A lot of you probably would rather have multiple evade charges, I get it. But the good thing about those damage over time effects, just leaving pools behind and charging forward into the next group and then coming back later, is like you hit so much stuff at the same time, like, and those attacks, the damage over time procs, like they also count for the reduction of the cooldown of the evade. So yeah, you'll be able to evade all the time in groups, which is necessary really on higher tiers. Because I got blood mist on cooldown sometimes for a bit longer than I'd like it to, you know, especially against single targets you just saw against the boss. But yeah, I still like it. All stats. It's pretty important to have all stats on at least 2 pieces with this build. Just to make it easier for the paragon spending, especially if you're not 100 yet. Yeah, okay, so all stats, intelligence, movement speed, and the last one I had fortified generation first, but it didn't really seem necessary, so just got rid of it. Went for extra movement speed on there after killing an elite. Alright, weapon. Crit strike damage, vulnerable, intel, and damage for the stun versus stun is kinda meh. I mean, you do stun a lot with this build, but I mean, I was thinking, what else should I take? Like shadow damage, probably, or shadow damage over time, something like that, I guess, instead. It's hard at this point because like all I need is crit strike and vulnerable really, and intel. Damage versus close, damage versus distant. I mean those could be options as well, but I try not to focus on close and distant too much. I just focus on stuff that always gives you extra, you know, no matter how far they are. Well, I've already seen that one. Alright, jewelry. Starting at the amulet. Oh, actually, I almost forgot. The passive. You deal 50 to 120% increased damage for 6 seconds after shadowblight. Key passive damages enemies 10 times. Alright, amulet. I went for cooldown reduction, movement speed, which in my opinion is really good to have in this build, and some extra armor because I felt like I was doing alright at the time when I rolled that stat on there as far as damage was concerned, but I could use some armor, so that's why I made that choice. The amplified damage passive gives me 12% extra damage against cursed enemies. That's alright as well. Here in the rings I went for both of them got lucky hit chance. Like I really want to get a lucky hit chance as well. That's popping as often as possible for these bone storms. That's another reason why I went for it. But yeah, crit chance, crit damage, lucky hit chance, and this one's got damage at distant. I'd rather have it vulnerable. But yeah, the passive on it. Each time shadowblight key passive deals damage to enemies, increases the next shadowblight's damage within 10 seconds by 45%, sticking up to 5 times. So that seems massive. Like just those two together. It just seemed really good to me from the start. Alright, next. This ring is not great at all. I mean, it's got a full crit strike chance, and it's got some lucky hit chance as well. Damage to affected by shadow over time, enemies, and shadow damage. Both of them. I haven't really tried to find a decent other ring with a brutal slot in it. But yeah, at some point I'm hoping to find another ring that has crit strike chance, lucky hit chance, crit damage, vulnerable. And I like to give that a try because I guess it would be better. That's my guess. And yeah, you want blood soaked aspect on it. Yeah, but blood mist leaves a trail that lasts for 4 seconds. Deals shadow damage per second to enemies who stand in it. That's useful by itself, but also your movement speed is no longer reduced while blood mist is active, so that's really good as well. Yeah, the aspects, or the hearts I mean, barber obviously. Like I said before, like lower second rolls is probably easier for doing 60s and whatever. But if you go higher, in my opinion, 3.5 is 3.4 is good. Vicious Heart, I forgot what it's called, but yeah, walking near corpse automatically activates equipped corpse skill every second, dealing 22% reduced damage. And the Brutal Heart, where you get the Decrepify aura around you when you got at least 0 enemies near you, so that's a tier 5, but yeah. Alright, I'm gonna have to make a part 2, because explaining this took longer than expected. Part 2 is gonna be showing the skills and the Paragon points. Alright, cheers.